Margaret Carey. Margaret Carey, the perky actress and dancer who served as the model and inspiration for the Disney animators creating the pixie Tinkerbell for the 1953 classic Peter Pan, has passed away. She was 97. It is with profound sadness that we share news of the passing of Margaret, our beloved Tinkerbell, said a family statement on Carey's Facebook page. Margaret passed peacefully into the arms of Jesus on June 11th, 2026, in Wilmington, North Carolina. Her three adoring children, Ellen, Christina, and Eric, were with her as she lost her courageous battle with lung cancer at the age of 97. The statement continued, and remember, on any given night, to look up into the night sky and search for that second star to the right. Upon closer look, you might just notice that star shining a little bit brighter in Margaret's honor. From 1949 to 1952, Carey starred as daughter Sharon Ruggles on the live ABC family sitcom The Ruggles, one of the first television shows to emanate not from New York, but from Hollywood. In the highly rated series finale, her character gets married and goes on to her honeymoon. As a voice actress, Carey starred in Clutch Cargo in 1959, Space Angel in 1962 through 1964, and Captain Fathom in 1965. Those cartoons used the Synchrovox system with real human lips superimposed over the animated characters' mouths. And on the new Three Stooges in 1965, she was a part of that as well. She did live segments with Mo Howard, Larry Fine, and Joe Dorita as well. All were for Cambria Productions, a company led by her first husband, Dick Brown. The small-statured 5'2" Carey had starred alongside Eddie Cantor in If You Knew Susie in 1948, and was an assistant dance director on the Gloria DeHaven musical I'll Get By in 1950. That's when her agent sent her to Disney Studios in Burbank to audition for Peter Pan. She recalled in a 2003 interview with Jim Korkis. They were looking for a young girl who was comfortable with dance movement, she said. How do you audition for animation and for a character who doesn't speak? At home, I had a room set up, my dance room, with all of these mirrors. And so I got this little record player and put on an instrumental record and worked up a pantomime. Making breakfast to the beat of the record, carrying eggs, maybe dropping one, closing the refrigerator door with one foot. As much variety of movement as I could do in the context of a little story. The next day, I went to the studio. I took the record player, put on this 45 RPM record, and did this mime. I choreographed a whole 3.5-minute routine to this old record. Carey got the job and reported for work the next Tuesday and on and off for the next 6 to 9 months. She moved around a great big sound stage that she said seemed to go on forever. Wearing her own one-piece bathing suit, her hair in a bun, and being observed by Mark Davis, one of Walt Disney's 9 old men, and other animators. There was no one for me to react to. I had to imagine almost everything, she said. There was an occasional prop, like huge scissors or a wireframe keyhole or something. Most of the time, it was just me pretending to be looking up from under something or walking around. Starring Bobby Driscoll as Peter, Catherine Beaumont as Wendy Darling, Hans Conried as Captain Hook, Peter Pan played in competition at the 1953 Cannes Film Festival and was a big hit at the box office. Later, Tinkerbell would become a mascot for Disneyland, who sprinkled her magic pixie dust at the start of episodes of The Wonderful World of Disney. They liked the character that I came up with, she said in a 2020 interview. She's feisty. You love her if she's very bad, and you love her if she's very good. Margaret McCarty was born on May 11th, 1929 in Springfield, Illinois. After her mother died during childbirth, her father was unable to care for their 5 children, and she and 2 siblings were put up for adoption. With her new parents, Fred and Grace, she was renamed Peggy Lynch, and the family moved to Los Angeles when she was 3. She appeared as a fairy in A Midsummer's Night Dream in 1935. She said, after a studio light caught fire, Mickey Rooney dragged me into this little 2-inch deep stream on the set so that I'd be safe from any of the flames. And our gang comedy shorts, and she took dance lessons from Nico Charisse, husband of Syed Charisse. She showed up in The Adventures of Tom Sawyer in 1938 and The Star Maker in 1939. She was also a stand-in for Elizabeth Taylor in National Ballet 1944, then tap danced and sang as the daughter of Cantor and Joan Davis characters in If You Knew Susie. It was Cantor who gave her the stage name Margaret Carey. During the making of the movie, in which Driscoll played her brother, she finished up at Benjamin Franklin Senior High School and would later graduate from Los Angeles City College. Also starring as a co-host performer on the local TV show Teleteen Reporter, produced and hosted by Al Burton, Carey landed on The Ruggles. The show starred Charlie Ruggles as her dad, Irene Treddo, and then Aaron O'Brien Moore as her mom, Tom Bernard as her brother Chuck, and It's a Wonderful Lives actor Jimmy Hawkins and Judy Nugent as her twin siblings, Donald and Donna. The family home had 1 bathroom, making for all kinds of chaos. The Ruggles ran for 137 episodes over about 32 months, with the cast doing 1 episode live for the East Coast, breaking for dinner, and then doing another one live for the West Coast. And we never heard of a cue card, she said. Carey noted that she had just won a Most Beautiful Legs in Hollywood contest when she went on to work on Peter Pan. You remember the scene where Tinkerbell falls over backwards in Wendy's dresser drawer? Well, they had me falling over backwards onto a mattress. The mattress was about half an inch thick, or at least it seemed that thick, and I went over backwards and went thud. The look on my face of surprise and pain was identical to the one Tink has in the finished film. Tinkerbell didn't talk in the movie, but Carey was heard as the red-headed mermaid, and that kickstarted her voice acting career. Carey also appeared on a 1950 episode of The Lone Ranger, and on 2 first-season installments of The Andy Griffith Show. In 1960's Christmas Story, Bess Muggins, and in 1961's Andy forecloses as Helen Scooby. Most recently, she was a motivational speaker, a producer, writer, and host of a program for LA-based Christian radio station from 1992 to 2004. Her autobiography, Tinkerbell Talks, Tales of a Pixie-Dusted Life, was published in 2016. Carrie was married to Brown from 1951 until their 1984 divorce. He was director on the Ruggles, where they first met. And she was also married to John H. Wilcox from 1987 until his death in 1999. She then reconnected with Robert Boak, a retired Mobil oil exec, and her old boyfriend from 7 decades earlier, and married him on Valentine's Day in 2020. She had kept a bracelet he had given her all those years ago. He died on May 24th. Asked by Corcus what she thought when she saw Peter Pan for the first time, she replied, "Like everyone else, I was enchanted. It was such a happy film. When you look up at that screen, that's me up there. It's a wonderful thing. And it is a blessing." Margaret Carey, Tinkerbell, from the 1953 classic Peter Pan, passed away on June 11th. And once again, she was 97. One of the interesting things here, as I go through that, I had the honor of interviewing Margaret Carey back in 2020 here in Richmond at GalaxyCon. I'll never forget exactly that interaction. Here I was interviewing a bunch of celebrities, celebrity after celebrity after celebrity. And then I hear this little small voice says, "Hey, would you come and interview me?" That was Margaret Carey. And I sat there and I proceeded to ask her about her time in film, her time as being Tinkerbell. And she was just so grateful just to be there, to see all of the young little girls that would come up to her, surprised, and say, "You're Tinkerbell? You're Tinkerbell." And she loved looking at the joy of those kids and seeing the sparkle in their eyes, the same sparkle that she would use her wand in the film as magic. It was an incredible interview, and once again, I must say, I was very honored to have the chance to meet Margaret Carey and also interview her. So I say this pretty much from all of us. Tink, you will be missed. And once again, as you look up into the sky night after night, it's that second star to the right. That's the one that you follow straight on till morning. And if it looks a little bit brighter, as her family said, you know the reason why. It's because Margaret, Tink, is still looking down on all of us. We'll miss you, Margaret. We will. We really will. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, it is about 12:30 here on the 13th day of June in the year 2026. It has been one of those weeks at least for me, where everything was, all I hear is just horrible news, bad news. And then I see this. Tinkerbell has passed away. And it makes me realize that as we get upset about the news and what's going on in the world and our own problems, I take a step back and I say, you know what? It's really not that bad. Look around you. Look around. Do you have friends? Do you have family members? Are you able to sit there and take a step back and realize just how blessed we all really are? As blessed as somebody like Margaret Carey was. Having children, reuniting with her old boyfriend years later. We always want to sit down and complain and whine. It's one of the reasons why I often grab these little sayings from Mr. Rogers, which I do have a few with me today. The outsides of life are important, but the insides are what enhances so much of the rest. When we treat children's play as seriously as it deserves, we are helping them feel the joy that is to be found in the creative spirit. But here's where it gets really interesting. It's so tempting for some people to turn on the television set or the radio when they first walk into a room or get into the car. I wonder what some people are afraid might happen in the silence. And that's something that I'd like to challenge all of you. How often is it that you just walk into a room, you turn on the television, you get into the car, you turn on the radio? Are you afraid of your own voice? Are you doing it to be distracted? Because at the end of the day, all you have is just you. Our performance doesn't have to be measured against anyone else's, just against our own abilities to cope. What a gift we all give to children when we encourage them to talk about what makes them happy, jealous, angry, shy, afraid, or proud. I often sit there and think about children, the next generation. You think about yourself as a child and what you went through. It was always different. Every generation is different. For every child, it is different. Even sometimes, it's very difficult. Mr. Rogers goes on and says, I remember how helpful it was for a teacher in one of my new schools to say to me, was it hard to leave the old school and the teacher and your friends who were there? Just her asking me about that knew somebody understood. And that's what it's all about. You know, the greatest thing we can do is to let people know that they are loved and also capable of loving. When we love a person, we accept them or her exactly as they are. The lovely with the unlovely, the strong along with the fearful, the true mixed in with the facade. And of course, the only way we can do it is by accepting ourselves that same way. It may be that the most important mastery we achieve early on is the mastery of patience and persistence that learning requires. We want to raise our children so that they can take a sense of pleasure in both their own heritage and the diversity of others. And in the process, thank God we don't have to earn every bit of love that comes our way. As you go about your weekend, I want you to just take a moment. When you walk into a room, when you get into your car, take a moment and don't turn on the music. Don't turn on the television. Sit there in silence. Think about yourself. Think about your friends, your family, your loved ones. And be grateful. Because no matter what happens in the world, what happens on a day-to-day basis begins with you. It begins with you, and you make the choice of how you want each day to progress. Sure, there are moments where all of a sudden you get a random curveball. But you should know that sometimes those random curveballs are coming. And in the midst of the storms, sometimes the sorrow, the disappointment, once again, take a step back and recognize the fact that we are all truly blessed. And that any given day, when it feels like you're about to sink, you can fly. You can fly. You can fly. Stick around here for another few moments. Citizen Germ will be back with his own little Mr. Rogers segment at the end of the show. But until then, we do have a couple more songs to play. Radio only. Thank you for listening. If you are listening, WDCE 90.1 FM. Also, if you are not here locally, you can download the Live 365 app and search WDCE. You'll be able to listen to us in the background, going about your day. Follow me at Sam Newsman all over social media, where you're going to find me. And be on the lookout for what we plan on doing here during this Best of Richmond competition. If you are an artist, a creator, an event organizer, a planner, or even a small business, specifically here in Richmond, but even online, there are opportunities that we want you to be a part of this journey as we continue to grow and do something that has never been done before. And that is be in both the morning show category and the afternoon show category and place in the top 3. Once again, follow me at Sam Newsman, and there'll be more information here coming soon of how you can be a part of that, as the best helps the best. Once again, thank you so much for listening. And once again, Citizen Germ will be here in just a few moments. Take a few moments this weekend. Turn off the television. Turn off the radio. Look up in the sky and see that second star to the right. And fly straight until morning. Because you can fly, you can fly, you can fly. Broadcasting live from the WDCE studios out of the University of Richmond, you're listening to WDCE 90.1 FM. Setting the standard and raising the bar, the only way a real, award-winning media puppet knows how to do. From the most trusted puppet in media, reporting since Roswell, I'm Sam, NewsMan.
But Peter, how do we get to Neverland?
Fly, of course.
Fly?
It's easy. All you